Hey, good morning, everybody. Is Jill there? Okay. Anyway, my hip is actually getting worse, so I'm going to call into the doctors and make an appointment on Monday and see if I can get in there and figure out what's going on. I think it probably is bursitis, but I'm concerned that I might have ripped something in there too. So I'll have them take a look at it and see what I can do. But I'm not very mobile at the moment. So why don't we do the form as we know it a couple of times? I'm not going to do it. You guys are going to do it, and I will watch and make comments. And then I can show you the next move, which is called raise knee, and we can go through that in some detail. And we probably will end up quitting a little bit early here. There's Jill. So Jill, I was just saying my hip bone here is giving me a little trouble today, so I'm not going to be as active as normal. So I'm just going to have you guys do the form. So I'll have each of you do it if you feel like doing it, and we'll go up through walk obliquely and twist step, right, which ends ends with reverse single whip. All right. Okay, Jim, why don't you do the first one for us? Oh, Jim, say something so the camera goes on you.
Okay.
James, I think you skipped over some stuff here. This is something that happens very frequently. I can remember. I remember once I was leading a form in Master Zhang's class, and all of a sudden I realized nobody else was following me. They were all standing there staring at me because I had switched from one form in the middle of the form. I had switched from one form to another form without even realizing it. Right. So Jim, go back to the end of Buddha's Warrior, right, and just start from there. Okay, good. All right. So one of the reasons to go through the form like this is to give you a little practice, but also to let me see where your mental holes are in this here. So I'm spotting two places in particular where Jim's memory of the form not only is not down in the muscles, which is where it needs to be eventually, but there's a little lacunae there, right? A little hole there. Let me demonstrate these two places. Everybody gets these, without exception. So yeah, I'm gonna correct Jim here, but you all can take this too and remember. When you find a place where you're just not sure what the hell's going on, that's where you need to practice. If you remember Itzhak Perlman last week when we watched him for a minute, and he was saying, just practice slowly and practice a small portion. You don't have to do the whole form. You can just practice a couple of moves, and this is a perfect example. You do it until you get it right, and then once you got it right, you do it over and over and over until it's in your muscles, not just in your mind, but in your muscles. Watch, I'm going to show you the place where Jim's mind isn't sure what's going on, and then we'll go over this a few times, right? And it's at this place in the form, right? Right here. Boom. He's not sure what's going on. And this is partly an artifact of the fact that we're two dimensional. And it makes it more difficult to catch things like this. But I'm going to, it's, from what I can see, it's actually literally right there. That's the move. Right? So let's just break this down, really, really make it very, very simple. The first thing is you're shifting your weight from your left foot to your right foot. Boom. That's what's going on. The right hand is throwing an elbow. So it's exactly like our elbow exercises when we do this. All right? Boom. Then, now this part is actually quite tricky, so I'm going to give you some information. Jim, this is going to be a lot for you, but for the other folks, this is something they can work on. It's a little more advanced. And we're just talking about the right hand, all right? The elbow comes across, and then the arm does this. Elbow comes across, and the arm, the shoulder, the elbow, and then the wrist spiral down and in. And they're spiraling down and in because the Dan Chin is turning and you're sinking in the right quad. So they're following this movement. And when you're done, your forearm should be stretched out the same as your thigh. All right, so my forearm and my thigh are right above each other. Now this is kind of tricky because this is a right, a movement like this. It's kind of flat, kind of a pink circle, right? And then it's going to turn into this spiral. The trick to it is your shoulder and your back. Don't come across and then try and change your hand. You come across and now your back, right, in back sinks down into your pelvis and into your leg. Right? You don't even move your hand first. You just sink into your lower back and down into your buttocks. And your shoulder comes down, and then your elbow spins, and then your hand spins. Boom. The other hand is doing something completely different. Watch this hand. Now, you're right on your own nipple. And you're going to drop it to your navel. So Master Zhang, speaking Chinese, couldn't really tell the difference between nipple and navel. So he would get off on these, nipple, navel, nipple, navel. I don't understand, right? What he meant was you're dropping your hand from your nipple to your navel. Watch this hand. Right. Gives you some sense of control. Right. So nipple and navel, right? That's what you're doing. This hand is coming like this. This hand is going like this. You got the wrist and you got the elbow. Wind up. Elbow strike, chin up. Right. wind up, elbow strike, chin up. So if you can get that little part in there, it'll close up a hole, so to speak, and hopefully then you can just slide around into the next move, right? One more. And so forth. Right? And then the other problem was the last move in the sequence that we only started last week. So let's just go ahead and review that move, that last move. So the name of the move is walk obliquely and twist step, and it comes after white crane. Let me adjust the camera here. So we're at white crane, right? Walk obliquely. Kick and push. Squeeze and press. Wind up and hit. Twist step. Step out left. Block, raise, push, sink back onto the right leg, circle, and reverse single whip, and back to facing forward. Boom. Retreat, block, hit, advance, block, hit, set, kick, push, squeeze, press, wind up, and hit. All right? See, I'm up on the right toes. Shift the weight to the right and come up on the left toes. That's the twist step. All right? Sink and the left foot goes out. Block the knee, grab and lift, push, relax back, circle, and reverse dan bien. One more. The way we have been doing this is kind of the paint by number way, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna for this next demo, I'll up it just a little bit. The way I've been doing this to teach you is this. All right. Retreat, block, hit, advance, block, hit, set, kick, and push. The little more advanced way of doing it is this. Retreat, block, hit, advance, block, hit, and push. Do you see the difference? It's more flowing. It's fine to do it either way. You should do it the paint by number way until you've got the paint by numbers. Once you've got the paint by numbers, then you can move to the little bit more flow kind of thing. Yes, Jill.
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you say set versus sync, is there a difference?
No, no, not really.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wanted to verify.
Um, not every sync is a set, but every set is a sync.
Ah,
You get it,
okay.
right? What I mean by set is you're setting yourself up to do something, and it's actually raising the knee and stepping out.
Okay.
But there are many times when you sync that are not necessarily setting up to do something.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
That was a good question? Did everybody understand that question? Right? Okay, good. Retreat, block, hit. Advance, block, hit. Set and kick. Push, squeeze, press, wind up and hit. Twist, step. Step out, block, lift, and push. Back onto the right. Circle and reverse Danbian. Single whip. Boom. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, practice it 1,000 times. All right, Jill, do you want to do a set for us?
Wow, like right on cue.
You don't have to, and if you're not,
Yeah, I'm kind of unsteady today, so
okay, no problem. Catherine, what about you? How are you doing? You want to try one?
Since the beginning,
Yeah,
I'll try.
okay. Good. Okay. Very good. So, if I was doing private lessons with you guys, each of you is at a different place. I mean, everybody's very individual, and people are at different places in their development. So, it's traditional when you watch someone do the form for the teacher to give you a few corrections. But the corrections that I might give to Catherine don't necessarily, well, of course they apply to you, but they don't necessarily apply to you right now. So I'm going to give Catherine a very simple correction, um, because her basic movements are good. So now you move up to a little higher level, and now you start refining things, right? Now I'm going to show you what I mean. I have to adjust the camera here a little bit. I want you to watch my forearm. All right, watch my forearm. You see what's happening with my elbow? All right. Now, I was actually exaggerating a little bit what she was doing, but almost everyone has this basic problem when they start Tai Chi. And by starting, I mean in the first 3 or 4 years. All right? Watch. This is called raising your elbows or raising your shoulders. Now, this is interesting. Do it yourself and watch yourself inside. Watch your dantian. Start here. What happens? When I'm like this, where's my chi? When I'm like this, where's my chi? Now that's a pretty exaggerated, right? But honest guys, I got to tell you, this is a martial art, and the advantage to studying this through the lens of the martial arts is, in the martial arts, it either works or it doesn't work. It's very, very practical. And so I can tell you, if we were pushing hands, when you push hands, you want to try, you should push hands with many people, but you want to try to push hands with people that are quite a bit better than you are, because they're going to be your teachers. And anybody who's any good is not going to try to beat you into the ground. That's not the point of push hands. Push hands is a training regime. It's not sparring. So if I have my hands on someone, watch my elbow. That much is enough for me to beat them. Why? Because they're pulling their roots out of the ground. You can feel it. It's coming up your back. You're not down in your dantian anymore. You're not rooted in the ground anymore. Now you're up. It's called floating, right? You're floating. Everyone does this, as far as I can see, without exception. There's no point beating someone too hard about this at the beginning, because they're just going to do it, and they're still trying to learn the basic movements. But once you've got the basic movements, now you have to become aware of where your chi is, and this process of becoming more and more aware never stops. You get more and more refined. When I would push hands with Master Feng, you would push hands with him, and he would say, "Okay, now push into me." So I would push into him, The movement he would make to neutralize my push was so small, it was so efficient, that if he didn't slow down and show it to me, I couldn't tell what he was doing, except that whatever I was doing didn't work anymore. So he would just make a small motion with his. I've grabbed him. I'm pushing. He would make a small motion like that, and that's enough to neutralize a push. You cannot push the guy. You think you can because you're bigger than he is, but you can't. All right. So paying attention to these things, all right, will really lift your game. There's another aspect to this too, because nobody in here is trying to be a martial artist. When you raise your chi, you are introducing stress into your body. That's stressful. I'm not saying stress is necessarily bad. I'm just saying it is stressful. It's not as relaxed as just going like this. That's much more relaxed. It's much more natural. This is kind of a little unnatural, right? So it makes a big difference in your mind and in the feeling in your body. So I was on Jill a year ago or 6 months ago about her habit of raising her elbows and her shoulders a little bit. Now that was during the Qigong exercises we were doing, which is a little different than Tai Chi because they tend to be more exaggerated. And so when I see students doing that, I do want to try to catch that in them because they're practicing the wrong thing. If you're doing shoulders like this, and I just let you do that for months, well, now you have this incredible habit in your body of raising your elbow when the elbow's not even involved. The elbow should be empty, right? A big part, a way to talk about not raising your elbows and not raising your shoulders is those joints should be empty. When you raise them, now they're full. You can feel it. They're full of chi. They're full of energy, okay? Just relax. Feel the difference. Try it. All right, now move chi from your dantian to your fingertips. Okay, now just relax. All right, relax. Now move chi from your dantian to your fingertips. It's much, much easier. Because when you have stress in a joint, it blocks the flow of chi. And you can prove that. You just do it and you'll see that's what happens. So this refinement of the form itself is really your way of refining your relationship with your own energy body, right? Becoming friends. Right? So when you do any moves, right? Watch. It's not this. It's just relax. Just relax. Elbow pointed at the ground, shoulder down. You're not pressing it down. You're not lifting it up, all right? It's just relaxed. Just relaxed so that the chi can flow through out to the outer extremities of the body. I mentioned this before. I'll just mention it really quickly. There's two ways to look at your body. there's the outer rim of your body, which is even outside your body itself. Just think of it as a big ball that you're standing in. And then there's the inner part of your body here. Most people, when they begin Tai Chi, in fact, you begin anything, you're going to be on the outside of your body looking in. And that's why you raise parts of the body that shouldn't be raised, because you're actually in the mental mind, and you're on the outside, and you're gradually moving in. And that's why you need to practice. You need to practice, 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 so that you can move from the outside rim into the inside. And you finally get in the inside. Now you don't have to be reaching out to the outside all the time. You can just relax onto the inside, right? Boom. Anyway, then that's why it actually takes years to learn Tai Chi, to learn Tai Chi well, because it takes years to learn to relax. So when you moving your arms, all right, just let your elbows and your shoulders relax. They're just relaxed. Now, relaxed doesn't mean they're wet noodles, but they shouldn't be full of stress in your joints. Yeah, Kevin.
So one thing I'm finding is you got to have the connection to the ground and your qua and everything, because if you don't have that, and even if you think you do and you don't, then you're moving your arms just from your arms. If you can get the spiral in your body going, then everything stays relaxed and down. But if you don't have that connection, and that takes a long darn time to do. No,
It does. It's not that it's difficult.
yeah.
It's not difficult to do. In a sense, you're not even doing anything. It's just you're not doing the wrong things anymore, right? And you just relax into the right things. But the way I think of it is, the way I would interpret what Kevin just said is, unless you're grounded, you can't relax. Because if you're not grounded, you're just sort of floating around, and I don't know what to do, and I'm in the outside of my body, and I'm trying to accomplish these things, and I'm trying to be strong and do all this stuff, but I have no connection with the ground. And it's not just the earth ground, it's also your own grounding. So one of the reasons that we do so much Qigong, and we have not emphasized this in our Qigong so far, but one of the reasons that we do Qigong is to find our Danjian. Now, of course, you know the Danjian is here. So you say, well, I found it, it's there. Well, the fact that you know it with your brain doesn't mean you found it. By find, I mean experience it. All right? And that means sinking into it and sinking into the earth. Now, when you're grounded, you've got something that will hold you up, and that will imagine a giant redwood tree out there. Only it's not actually attached to the ground. That redwood tree is gonna feel really funny, right? It's gonna go, I've got this whole big redwood tree, but I'm not rooted. I'm not rooted in the ground. So of course it has no stability. And it's the same with the human body. You have to be rooted in the ground. And then you have the stability that you can play off of. Does this make sense? Does it make sense, Jill? Say yes. Yes, good. Okay.
You can start to feel the muscles in your abdomen move like this.
Yes.
And that's a very strange feeling. Now I don't have the energy yet, but I'm
Yeah.
getting control over the the abdominal muscles.
When you truly start to relax the body into gravity, so to speak, and you let yourself relax into that, it opens things up and it allows you to move your Dan Chen like a big ball. Master Zhang, when we first started with him, he was, I think, 64. And he was still in very good shape, and he would practice, and we would watch his belly. And he was just wearing civilian clothes, so to speak, or they were sort of like mine. They were workout clothes, but his abdomen would move around. It was like what, it was like moving like this, like there was something underneath there, right? Literally, and we called it his bag of squirrels. He had a bag of squirrels in there. His abdomen, from here to here, was so developed that the muscles just. Then he wasn't trying to do anything in particular. He was just doing the form, right? And that just comes from 40 years of doing the form. But the secret to getting there. The secret to getting there is rooting yourself in the ground. And this is why Tai Chi is done so slowly. It's to help you remember, right? Root yourself in the ground. 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 Root yourself in the ground, and so forth. Why do we have to really focus on this? It's because the rooting part is dull. It's not the exciting part. I'll show you the exciting part. Huh! 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 That's the exciting part. Everybody wants to jump to the exciting part. It's exactly the same as if you were trying out for Major League Baseball and you're up to bat and all you're paying attention to is the part where the bat hits the ball. What you've got to pay attention to is the windup, is the yin part. If the yin part is weak, the yang part will be weak. If the yin part is, you're off the structure, you're off the body mechanics, then the yang part's not going to be any good. So doing this slowly, a sink. You can feel your chi. If you pay attention, you can feel the chi sink in the body. Don't go on until it hits the ground. Now, I go pretty quickly, but that's only because I've been doing this for 40 years. The truth is, right? Sink. Oh, boom. There it hit the ground. Now you can go on. And sink. Okay. Don't push out until you're grounded. Now push out. And again, sink. Let it sink. Oh, okay. There it goes. Now I can come up. And again, ground yourself. Now come up. And sink again, all the way to the ground, and then go on. That's one of the big secrets of Tai Chi. Give yourself plenty of time and watch yourself. There's no rush. You're not rushing anywhere. what you're trying to do, if you want a big yang, then you gotta have a big yin. And everyone just wants to skip the yin and go on to the yang, right? So it's just a matter of paying attention to the quieter part of things. Right? Just pay attention, feel it go down. Boom. Okay, now go on. Boom. All right, any other questions? All right, guys.
Oh, this isn't a question, but
Yeah.
this is a comment. Because I've been trying to work on this idea. It's like I definitely have an issue with relaxing, like particularly in the shoulders and the upper, elbows up. And I think you hit the key of, if I focus on that connection into the ground, is what I'm finding is that a lot of it has to do with I'm protecting,
Yes.
very
Yeah.
much this protecting. But if I sink, that's the protection, is basically you're tapping into a force.
That's exactly right, Jill. When one feels unrooted, you're going to feel unstable. Another way to say it is you're going to feel vulnerable because you're unstable. And so, since you feel vulnerable, you're going to put up your body armor. All right? Good old classic body armor. The body armor takes a lot of energy to put up. Oh, okay, I have to protect myself from whatever. Right? Okay, now I've got all this body armor, all this weight up here that I have to protect and everything. I can't relax. It's just not possible. If you are well rooted in the ground, it really helps your body feel relaxed. It makes you feel stable because you are stable. And when you feel stable like that, you can just relax into it. When you can relax into it, now you can move very freely. You can also move more quickly. When you're like this, right? You have to relax everything in order to wind up, in order to hit somebody, for instance. So it's very slow. Or as Master Zhang used to say in Chinese, it's just kind of stupid. You have to let go of that tension. And you think you've let go of it, and then they put you in the ring to do push hands with somebody. And what you will find right away is it all comes back. Right? Even if you're good friends with the person that you're pushing hands with. Because it's a simulated conflict situation. So there's a little heat there. And it will bring up your anxiety. So one of Master Zhang's favorite things, we never had this made into a t-shirt, but we should have. He would say, he couldn't say R's. So instead of saying R, he would say F. Relax. Relax. Don't be anxious. Relax. Maybe we'll have to make up for our school, right? Okay, guys. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.